Hi everyone, welcome to I'm a Recruiter. I'm your host Prafula Gauri. I'm a Recruiter is a community created by and for talent acquisition professionals. Our vision is to build a leading global community for TA professionals, and our mission is to help 100K TA professionals grow from a traditional recruiter to a trusted talent advisor. If you find our content useful, please support us by liking, subscribing, sharing, and commenting on our channel. So today we have a very special guest. So we have someone who is seasoned HR professional joining us, Navneet Rangaswamy. Navneet preferred to call him as Nava, who brings over 8+ years of experience in the field, currently leading the HR effort at Harita TechServe Private Limited. His journey has taken him through diverse companies like Bot, BFX, Figo.ai, Covi, giving him a broad perspective on HR in the tech world. Nava is passionate about all things HR, with particular focus on streamlining HR operations and making them more efficient. But that's not all. He is also a strong advocate for technologies into HR processes and has championed this throughout his career. He is a great HR who would love to make things right. So let's deep dive more into Nava's HR world. What other things he have done in his career? Let's hear a little bit about his travel recommendation as well. So welcome Nava to I'm a Recruiter podcast. We are really excited and glad to have you in our show. Right. So why don't you quickly introduce yourself?
So thank you, Profula. I'm the recruiter team, so for inviting me for this, I'm honored to be a part of this because I know there are lots of communities and what you guys are doing is it is one of the things that is a need of the heart, and the tagline of moving people as a just from a talent acquisition to a talent advisor is something a great tagline that that people might want to be a part of it. So I'm happy to be part of. I'm a recruiter, and thanks for inviting me. So as you have covered most of the things about me, so the only thing which maybe I didn't mention you is because is something like I am a mechanical engineer turned into a HR operations guy. So I started my career like my undergraduation was in mechanical engineering, and I later transitioned myself into and I started in 2017, and we are currently at my crossing my 8th year. So this is what my career has been.
Sure. So you are basically born and brought up in which part of India, Navneet?
So I am born and brought up in a city called as Coimbatore. It's in Tamil Nadu. So it is also called as the Manchester of South India. If you had
Yes.
known, so we had like lots of trades in the earlier days, but now it is we are known for our industries. So that was the primary reason why I did my mechanical engineering and
Okay.
later turned into HR. So basically, I did my schoolings and my undergraduation from Coimbatore itself. And I completed my, for my MBA. I came to Bangalore, a shift in my personal life and also in terms of learning new things. So I thought it could be a pathway for me to learn things. So was in Bangalore for around 2 years in 2016. Then I came back to Coimbatore to start my career as HR.
Okay. Okay. Got it. Yeah. Please go ahead.
That's all.
Okay. So you have worked with really diverse companies with diverse background, from visual effect to AI to fintech, right? So what is the most surprising things you have learned about how different industries approach HR in general?
I started mostly I have been working with startups. Only now I'm transitioning myself into a matured organization stuff. So with each domain or the industry we call them. So it is a bit different. We are working with startups in IT sector. So it is completely different. Challenges we have or companies there. It is not just an HR. You have to work as an admin. You have to work as a generalist. You have to at times you have to work also as your the CEO. So everything happens in a startup. It happens. But in a matured organization, it doesn't feel like that you have a defined roles, but that is where currently that is where the changes I see. And moreover, the approach is different because last company bought VFX, it was one of the places where people in the team were called as artists. So
Okay.
we call actually the HR term would be employees, right? So there
Yes.
the
Yes.
HR term was artists. So
Okay.
artists and support function. So that was the term that was used. So when I started my career at Bot, it was just new to me. And now I'm with Harita Tech, which is a part of TVS. So here we call the people as engineers, not as employees. So even though for the operations part, we have the same employees term, but the people who bring the business or the revenue makers are called in different terms. So now engineers, and in my past it was artists. That is something that every day is a learning day for us.
Sure. Sure. So next question for you is like you are clearly passionate about tech in HR, right? Was there any specific moment that sparked this interest, or has it always been there?
It has been there from the from the beginning, but it took me a lot of time. If I had understood that, if I had that moment when I was joining my undergraduation, I would not have taken mechanical. I would have taken computer science. So it was not that I got the argument in my earlier stages, but it took me a lot of time. And moreover, I would say it is my curiosity to do things.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that was the primary thing where, this moment, or, the light bulb moment, whatever we call it as. So that came into act. And moreover, I strongly believe that no human can work at 100% efficiency.
Yes.
CSV machines also do mistakes, but not comparatively lesser than humans. And, in order to have this to be removed or, eliminated, I started, if I'm doing a mundane task, like I have to, it starts from a simple mail merge. If I have to draft a letter, first for like, when we were not using ATS or HRMS systems to generate the letters. So it started from there. And the effective use of Excel to at some point, maintaining the dashboards, creating dashboards. So that is where my, to say, the technology inclusion or my inclination towards technology rose, and that helped me in many ways to resolve things, or publicly or whatever, took my stand or take my stand along with some data for my support, because people might support you or might not support you, but when you go with the data, obviously you will win. So I strongly believe that. So that helped me that this can happen, and only it can happen if you have a strong data, and technology is where you can depend on data, not people. So that is how
Yes.
I came into this, and I strongly believe that is it.
Sure. Thank you so much. So the next question which I have for you is, because you have worked with like almost what VFX, right? Which is like, I believe it is into animation or related
FX,
to
yeah. Movie
VFX and
VFX.
other things.
Yeah.
Yeah. What kind of hiring you used to do there as a recruiter or as an HR person? And what is the hiring process look like there?
So hiring process, say already said, like it depends on each main or each company. So I have been with multiple companies, and there is the set standard which we say as a manager starts up a requisition, and the CEO approves it, and it comes to the recruiter to start the hiring process. So it is a startup. We had that process because we were starting from scratch. We decided with Figure we decided we have to set processes, because only then we'll be able to, when we scale up, we'll be able to cope it up, or we'll be able to follow it. So we are a smaller group, either mostly with Figure.ai and also with Kuwait. So we had a set standard. So our requisition has to start, and it has to get approved, and then hiring starts. The hiring process, so with Figo, it was a purely tech company. So where
Okay.
we focused mostly on LinkedIn, and we also inclined towards some consultancies for us to close the positions which were very hard or very niche skills. Mostly went on with LinkedIn, Naukri, Indeed as the portals to start with. We had multiple hirings in the sense. So we had to hire for a Java developer at one point, and I also have to hire for a fit on street who's on to
Okay.
a sales. So when
Okay.
we have
Okay.
this diverse, the hiring part, it is a challenge for us. So we
Yeah.
have to set up a different team for hiring for the technology, and a different team for hiring for the sales or marketing, and also a different team to set up for hiring for the operations, because even they are the their business, they run the business. So we have to set up three different teams there. We have to and make sure everyone is are skilled in both all the three types of hirings, because sales might be 365 days a year the hiring would be there, but the technology and the operations may not be there for a whole year. So we have to make sure everybody is compatible with all other hirings also. So that was a challenge, and that is where we planned on this. And with my current role at Harita, we have a separate team for hiring. So we hire mostly mechanical engineers.
Okay.
Here, the hiring is predominantly from LinkedIn or through referrals. And being a mechanical engineer, I am feeling a bit relieved that there are so many vacancies open for mechanical engineers, and still
Mechanical.
people can yeah. So that is something I'm getting relieved, a bit of relief.
Okay. And in the first organization you have worked, so how did you, like, what is the hiring process there? What VFX?
Our hiring process, we have a it headcount approved in the during the calendar year, and we make sure to throughout the year. So when there is any resignations, so we plan for refilling the position. And in case if there are any specific demands, we work on closing those on a specific basis. And mostly for what VFX, it was a niche skill set. So there, like Naukri was not at all going to
Yes.
help us.
Yes. Yes.
Naukri or Indeed was not at all going to help us. So the team actually depended on the and employee referrals. Moreover, Bot has been in this business for a longer period. Like they have completed 15 years this year.
Yes.
15 years this year. So they have a very pioneers who are into the system, and people they are known in this industry for a longer period, in this business for a longer period. So they have a reputation to maintain, and people come into Bot because of this reputation. And also in most of the organizations that I have worked, there is a clause where we hire freshers. So for Bot VFX, we hire people from other arts and science colleges, the media colleges, and we train them. We take them as an intern, we train them, and we most of them in the production. And at Harita, we hire people from colleges as freshers, we train them, and we deploy them in our clients' places. So this has been a common denominator overall in the hiring process, because this where we'll be able to can call it as giving back to the community.
Yes.
something like getting freshers, training them with salary, and putting them in the client's places or being them making them as a professional. So that is something has been a common denominator overall.
Sure. So now let's talk a little bit about your past, right? About your education time frame, right? So you choose BTech in mechanical, right? So during that time, how was the placement at the time in the colleges and all?
Placement, it was okay, not like when compared to whatever we are having now, the reach or the availability when compared to things now, it was I'll say 50% lesser. And we didn't have the we were not a smartphone era, like smartphones were there but
Yes,
without
yes,
internet.
yes,
So that
yes.
was the like, or with the limited internet. I completed my undergraduation in 2013, so we were with
Okay.
limited internet, so it was a bit hard at that time. And, for us to believe in a company, say if I get a call letter or something, to believe whether was it a fake company or is it a real one. So that
Yeah.
itself was it's a big thing there. And also for candidates to learn, or for the candidates to upskill or skill up themselves. So the provisions were very lesser back those days. Now, apart from the placements in colleges, we have multiple things going on. Like there are, train people, give training for them, and also help them in their placements. And I can name a few of the companies if that is okay with you.
Yes, that's yes. You can name them.
We lost you, Prof.
Yeah, yeah. You
So
can.
companies like Masa, Newton School. So the Masa, Newton School, because I have worked with them also, and they have given their approaches also, like they also fill the gap, the mostly the training, because all know the syllabus is the syllabus is currently we are operating are obsolete. So that is
Yeah, yeah.
different topic, but to make people get ready or industry ready. So there are multiple things such as Masai, Newton School, etc. There are many more. So these are the two companies that I have worked. And back in those days, these kind of facilities were not there. And only the traditional, I have to get 9 CGPA, 9.5 CGPA, only that work. But now I don't have to, have 9 or 9.8 CGPA. If I have just an interest towards, the technology or coding, and I have barely completed my degree, but I have what it takes to be a developer. I can be a developer or I can be a designer. But back in those days, a domain shift, because even till now, get called for why did you choose MBA after your B mechanical engineering? So
Yeah,
that
yeah.
question is being raised. If I become a developer, nobody, I feel, or I hope this trend,
Yep, yep. And like most of the people during that time, right, preferred engineering in computer science or IT kind of domain, right? So what made you choose mechanical engineer, right? What influenced you to choose mechanical engineer?
Maybe I'll give it only for the I am recruiter community, because as I said, like I come from Coimbatore, which is an industrial city. This is the reason I give it to most of my interviewers, stating that I did my mechanical engineering because I was from Coimbatore. But actual reason was my father. So the actual reason was my father. He is from mechanical background, so he worked in a
Okay,
company where
okay.
in a mechanical company, and it is something on him. And there is a term called as mechanical is evergreen field.
Yeah, okay.
He got influenced on that so much. Moreover, it was not my choice exactly. It was my father's choice, but MBA was my choice and HR was my choice. But in education was not my choice, my father's choice. But to not blame my engineering or my mechanical for not getting into a job, but it was purely myself, because at that time maybe I was not this much serious or this much focused like who I'm now. So maybe it is for that good, I'll say.
Okay, okay, got it. So definitely I can relate that particular thing. It's very much similar to mine, right? So when I did my engineering in BTech IT, then
Certainly,
I
you
did.
most of them, like 90%.
So even that was not my choice, right? My parent wanted me to become either an engineer or a doctor. So I have choose PCMB during my 11, 12 class, right? And post that they asked me to do engineering and all. So I did engineering. Then again, same like you, MBA was my choice. And whatever choice I have done that time, I'm very happy now that I am an HR now, right? I'm a recruiter now, right? So
The same
are,
question.
are you proud
No,
of your decision you have taken that time?
yes, I'm pretty much like, you would say like on personal note, I wanted to live with, yes or no regrets. So this is something like I don't regret at all. Choosing MBA or choosing HR, like I don't regret till date, and I don't think I'll regret it ever.
Okay.
Because only because I did my MBA, I was able to, go to Bangalore, learn stuff, and that ignited my curiosity towards technology. What I wanted to do during my mechanical engineering, I was not able to do. I'm able to do now. I'm able to have a free hand on my career, because it is something like flexible and I'm adaptable now. During my undergraduation, I was not. I was in a single box. I was into the box of mechanical engineering. Now I have like wide array of skills on my own. That is
Yes,
something I
yes,
don't
yes.
regret at all.
Awesome. And during that time, like, how did you find your first job, right? Was it easy to find jobs at that time compared to now?
Easy, I would say no, but like I had to go through multiple references. I had to ask for reference with my college, my relatives. I got my first job through a reference, because that point I was not able to attend my campus I got selected in my campus, but I was never called. So even that happened. So to start with the job, so I had to start with the reference because I had a very, my mom, dad, like we were like, I was the first graduate of my family back then. Now I have my brother who is doing his B and is also a part-time B and he's also a proprietor now. But I was the only first graduate during that time. So at that time, it was very hard for me to, start with my resume and, at that time, we'll not be able to send email to all the companies in a single shot. I can't do mail merge or, mass mail at that time because most people don't see their emails and we don't have email accesses. I had to go through physically to companies taking my resume. At the time, photocopying or printing my resume was a cost.
Yeah.
If I'm not getting selected, please give me back my resume so that I can use it for a different company.
The
So it
companies.
was not very much easier, I would say. It was hard. But previously, during that phase, maybe 2000, we a decade back, dominantly references worked a lot. But now I don't have to go and ask a reference with my own circle. I can just log into LinkedIn and I can ask any person who's in the company, just give a request and ask them to refer. There are good people and there are many more good people who refer you and who respond to your text in your LinkedIn
Yeah.
also. So it was not as easy as getting a reference now. So those things happen. But eventually I landed in a job to that to an automobile service center as a training, as a service training
Okay.
to understand processes. So I would say like the process or the my move towards processes and reviewing them started from there because even
Okay.
then my role was into affecting the processes or efficiency the process that was currently doing there as efficiently as possible. So it started from there, and within 10 months I stopped my I stopped my work and I went to do my MBA.
Okay. Got it. Got it. Great. So talking a little bit more about HR, right? So since you have worked with multiple different types of companies, different industries altogether, right? So wanted to understand from you, right? But many people, in general, many people think that HR is just about hiring and firing, right? But you have focused on operations as well. So what is one of the thing you wish more people understand about the behind the scene work of HR?
Until that we see the memes where like my HR gives only 2% increment or the HR team RT.
Yes.
So I think is most of the people when they're seeing from the outside, it is a bit disheartening. I would say when people hear memes that HR team does comes into office, they work on for this fun Friday and all. So this is a bit disheartening because when you are in a bigger organization, maybe for talent engagement, you have a separate team who focus
Yes.
only on the engagement
Yes.
part. But when you are in a smaller company or in a startup, driving that engagement itself is an ad hoc task for me because already my plate would be full managing all other stuffs of the HR. And moreover, people do not know the whatever the the back end work that we do. Starting from your onboarding. Now there is a team for curating your the onboarding journey.
Yes.
If
Yes.
people do understand that people but now we see people sharing their the induction kit and onboardings the LinkedIn community. So we are working like we are working on multiple things, but those are not tagged under HR, but only the 2% hike is tagged under HR. So that is something disheartening for me.
Yeah, and people just pick few things of the HR and make fun of that, right? For example, the Rangoli and other stuffs as well, right? That HR just make Rangoli and all. And recently, we were from I am a recruiter community. We were also trying to do an HR bootcamp for a university called KL University in Vijayawada, right? So one of the students still asked us this question: that can I apply in HR? Because HR is basically for girls, right? So these kind of questions are still there in the market. So can you believe that?
And we are the we want to say like we are the advocates for D and diversity and inclusion, but still we don't have diversity and inclusion in our team. But and this is a broader topic. Maybe a diversity and inclusion is not just having a female male ratio, right?
Yeah, yeah.
There's a total different agenda towards that. And these stereotypes, as a HR, like we fight towards not to stereotype in our companies. Like in everybody, I think you also do in your company. I do it my company. So do not stereotype people based on whatever things you see outside or no, we strongly advocate not to stereotype. But the fact is, we get stereotyped in a second. So that is something hard.
And sometimes it feels bad, right? We try to put so much of effort, and those things are behind the scene, right? People can't see those things, and definitely it feels bad, right? And just like you have mentioned, you are the first graduate in your family. I am the also first graduate in my family, right? My dad, he just passed 12, then he just did ITI, right? And he got his job in ONGC as in side duty and all those things, right? So my mom also, she also did just 12 and kind of some other courses and all those things, right? But she didn't work, right? So for me, when you were talking, I felt like you were talking the same story of mine.
It's like, you see, I'll say our story because our story is maybe I can confidently say like 60 to 70% of the total population will have a similar story because our parents' generation was like that. Our generation is getting, is maybe getting out or getting elevated, or so we can put it as whatever we wanted. Another thing you rightly said, people do not understand, or they don't try to understand. We try to understand people's emotions, everything, but when people are writing comments, or they are writing any news, people don't they don't want to understand. I will say they don't want to understand what the total as a HR, whatever they do, they only wanted to job where they can make fun, and they do that. So we can't do that. And initially, like I used to go into the comments, and or my getting monthly or getting our paychecks on time, right? So that is also part of HR's duty. Why don't
Yeah,
you
yeah,
talk something about that? I used to do the, you can't make them understand. So
yeah.
I also shared that meme, and I just pass on that one.
And instead of doing that, right, instead of feeling that, even now, what I try to do is I just try to ignore and move on, right? Now I know where to put my focus and all those things. Initially, like when we started our career, we were not able to understand, and we go through all the commands and other things and all, and it impacted us as well, right? It's great.
Like, and moreover, like obviously we won't get credit for our work, as you said. Like even the people in a community, or like in a company, maybe in our team, people know like whatever the work we do. But on a whole, if you ask an employee, say HR, they just do the salary, they hire, that's all. But you don't credit from your own company members, and you see something, a meme on LinkedIn, it would be disheartening at initially. But something I learned with very fewer people, like when we have a smaller, when I was working with startups, they know my in and out. So I'll be the
Got
first
you.
person to come in. I'll be the last person to go out. I worked on Sundays. Like,
Yes,
on certain period, I even worked on Sundays. So they know whatever we do. So that is where, like, I got, okay, there are people who appreciate us, or appreciate the work we do. And
yes, yes, yes.
so that's all. So maybe I just moved on away from this.
But good that you have mentioned about Saturday, Sunday also we have worked. Even in one of my companies, not only in one of the company, in a couple of companies, even I have worked on Saturday, Sunday, hiring drives and all those things, and how much effort it takes for full planning, organizing, implementing, and talking to people continuously, right? And it's still, you have to be like that, the person, go to person, and you have to talk to people every time, however your day is, right?
With a smile.
Yeah,
Like this, I have been very open, and I have been fighting in my previous organizations too, because management would be mainly focusing on the employees' mental wellness, etc., etc. They'd be driving us to have meetings, regular checkups with the people, but nobody cares about the HR team. They'll ask reports how many people have talked, what is the status, what is the emotional well-being, emotional quotient, etc. But if we are a 10-member HR team, so only the 10-member HR team knows everybody else's issues.
yeah, yeah,
And I
yeah.
worked in a different delivery center. In those cases, even the HR team doesn't know about the rest of the people's issue. So that is something, we people can focus on.
Yes. Yes. So now looking back on your 8 years journey, right? What is the biggest lesson you have to learn working with different tech companies, different domain companies as well? So what are different things you have learned in your life?
So our first thing is, be curious. The Steve Jobs wording is there, right? Stay hungry, stay
Yes.
curious.
Yes.
After something similar, I would say, don't stay hungry, but be curious. The probe is not is not relevant now. Is the get. It is not at all relevant. But if you are curious about your job, if you are curious about, on a good or not, because I should not be curious about how much he is earning or what he is doing. But if I'm curious about something, if I'm curious about a technology, if I'm curious about doing some stuff at a lesser time, so that kind of curiosity will make you a better person. And some close to my heart of a proverb, like this too shall pass. So we come up with multiple things, and there is, so you can't to say, there is no use of talking, or feeling for the broken egg. You just have to make a sandwich, or egg omelette, or a smashed egg, and go on. So that is something, because during my initial phases I had done mistakes, like we all would have done, but I have
Yes. Yes. Yes.
to talk on my personal things. I have done my part of mistakes. Did not hesitate to stand up and own my mistakes. Maybe that is where, like, that helped me to to not to make the same mistake again, but at the same time to earn, and to prepare the checklist. So that is something I have learned, maybe for my personal life as well as my career. So whenever I'm doing something, do a pre-assessment, undergo a training, or do something, have a post-assessment. State yourself what you have done, and always have a checklist. This is for both my personal life and my career.
And which is a good thing, right? Like if you have a checklist, it's much easier for you to track what are the things you have done, what are the things you have not done, and accordingly you can prepare, right? Great.
Only we'll be spending time for preparing the checklist. After that,
Yeah.
we'll not be spending any more time, because only we have to put the tick. That's all.
Yes, totally agree. So talking about your personal life, like, so what do you do when you are not working? What who Navneet really is? What he love to do?
So I love to travel in bike. So
Okay.
we used to travel a lot. We have been to Leh, Kardungla, and we have covered most parts of Tamil Nadu in bike, and in Kerala also. So that is what most of the times I'll be doing. But now, after I got married and I have my 1.5 years old son now, so I'm being like I'm trying to be a good parent, because that itself is a new learning for me.
Yes,
So
yes, yes.
now, so that is something, I'm learning, and also being a good husband is also good to learning. And, and focusing on my personal things now, I'm taking a bit time off on my travel and stuff as of now, because I have to focus mostly on my family and health. So that is what I'm doing currently now. But on a whole, like, I would love to travel, watch movies. I'm a normal human being, Praful. That's all.
No, I totally agree, Navneet. Even I have almost a 2-year-old kid now, right? So giving time to your family is definitely important, right? And if your wife is happy, you will be happy. If your wife is happy, your
So
kid will be happy.
if we have both of them happy, then we have achieved our career.
Yeah, that is also one of our checklists, right? To keep our wife happy. Great. So, with interest of time, right? Couple of more questions, just 2 to 3 more questions I will have, right? So, what career advice you would love to give to our HR folks or TA folks? What kind of challenges? Definitely, curiosity is one of the things you have told, which is definitely important. What are the other challenges you have faced? Other learnings you have learned from those challenges, and what are the ways to overcome them?
So other thing is, see, we are not inventing the wheel again. So most of the things are already there. So what we have to do is be as agile as possible, because I would say, like, best process is something which adapts to the situation. So I should not, create a process and stay stubborn that this is the process and I should follow it. It has to improvise on case to case basis and on timely basis. So on stuff, not top learning. I was not a big learner I passed, but this MBA and HR has made me learn things. Spend quality time on your learning. Do not fear for AI, because even AI's jobs can be taken by AGA and ASI. So do not fear for AI or AGSI or whatever. Just skill yourself, and most and importantly, have that human touch to whatever you do. For being a recruiter, it is not that you're reaching out to a candidate. Just spend another minute to call and inform him if he's rejected.
Okay.
That
Yes.
takes you a long way, because it can give you a personal experience. Say I was sitting behind a candidate for more than like 2 months. We offered him, he was a perfect fit for the role, but unfortunately he had a longer notice period, or he was not ready to move from the company because gave him a hike. He candid to him. So we have this budget, and if you come in, this is the role elevation or the career path that I can give you. I was candid to him. He was very much interested. But, when he said he got a different hike, he got a hike from his current company, and they were not ready to leave him, he was also candid to me. When that happened, even till now we are in touch. I have both of our contacts, and he used to, respond to my WhatsApp stories, and I do the same to him. He referred me a candidate, like he was getting a successor for him, and he
Okay.
referred me. He personally referred that person to my company, and he was also a fit for the company.
Okay.
That happened only because it took time to him. When he said, like, he got an offer. Normal myself would be like, this is unfair. I would have got agitated, because after getting an offer from me, you're making like, you are getting a hike from your current company and staying there. It is not, it is not a correct thing to do. I would have been agitated and have taken up a different approach. But I just took a time and thought it from my perspective. If I have been in his shoes, I would have done the same thing. I have been in this company for 2 years, and he's giving me the same hike, and I don't have to prove myself into the new company. The company knows already who am I, so I don't have to work hard and prove myself to you. So that is where I have taken this. He did not wait for the last day to go. He approached me and told me on the same day. It was candid, and I did the same thing. So okay, I completely agree. I wish him all the best, and I asked him for a reference, and he gave me the reference. This is
Right.
something. If you are rejecting a person, and if you are having, like, if you have the time to call and talk to them, maybe if you want to be more genuine, you can just give him the reason why he got rejected, so that he can put
Learn
his skill
or correct those.
skill up, and prove his. If that happens, obviously that person would call you once he cracks the next interview. He would call you and inform you that, yeah.
Sure. Great. So last question for you, which is related to your travel as well. So has your love of travel influenced your approach to HR in any unexpected way, right? Maybe broaden your perspective on different work style or something, right? Yes. So what I was telling you, like, definitely while traveling also we meet lots of different people, right? From different industry, and we try to make those relationships with other people as well, right? During the group travels and all those things. By some way, have those also influence in your HR career or HR part as well?
Yes, so the travel has humbled me. So that is what I would say as a perfect fit or the perfect word. So it has humbled me in many ways, because when we were traveling in Leh and Ladakh, so the military trucks would give way for us, for the bikers.
Okay.
It is not only
Okay.
for us, but for all the bikers, the military trucks would give way. And I drove my bike there, my own bike there. We shipped it and we drove my bike there. So when people from the part of the country, or our part of the country, they see our registration, they stop us, they talk to us, they tell what is going on, how careful should we be, etc. So these things, gave me opened up a new perspective for me. It was in my 2019, so it put me a new perspective. And I am taking this in my professional life also. Be humble, and do not judge a person. So that is something like, at any point, might be a CEO of the company or he might be the junior associate in the company. There would be respect for a CEO because he has done something and he's taking the most of the risk. So the respect is different, but it's different. So both of them equal in terms of, as a person, I have to treat them both equally. So that is something my travel has taught me on a longer thing. I would say that is the major things that I have learned, and I try to do it on a regular basis in all my company. And that has helped me because if we are like, even that comes as biased, right? So if I'm unbiased to people, obviously they will reach out to me for kind of queries, and people will believe if I'm giving a suggestion, or if I'm taking a stand, people will know that he might not be like 99%, he might will be unbiased, and he will do the right thing. So that trust with the people will be, we'll be able to get it only we are taking up their unbiased and we don't judge the people before we know them. So that is something I have learned a lot.
Okay. So with this, we would wind up today's podcast session. So I would like to thank you a lot for sharing about your journey, about your learnings, about HR as well, right? And some of the common things which we both also carry, like from the humble career or family we belong to engineering, then starting our journey in HR as well. Definitely, it was a great learning session for me individually as well. And I'm sure all our podcast listener will grab lots of learning pieces from this particular podcast. So thank you for your time and really appreciate that in spite of your busy schedule, you have to cut some time for the community members.
Thank you, Prafula. So from bottom of my heart, so I would say thanks for giving me this opportunity, and it is a big opening again for me. I would start speaking to people more in terms of I can share this to my folks at my previous companies and say this is what I'm doing, and this is a proud moment for myself. On a whole, like, this is a wholesome moment for me. So I would say thank you for giving me the opportunity, and I'm happy and proud to be a part of Time Recruiter community as well. So thank you so much, Prafula.
Thank you once again.
Thank you so